Indeed, top of the morning to you on this wonderful St. Patrick's Day, and welcome to the PodAskew Podcast. I am CJ, and with me, as always, is my hetero life mate, Rico. What's going on, brah?
Top of the morning to you. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's St. Patrick's Day in the East Coast, and let me tell you, they don't fuck around out here.
I don't fuck around over here either, but that's why I'm staying in.
Probably a good idea. Same reason I'm doing, too.
All right, so per St. Patty's tradition, CJ and I are going to crack open our fucking beers. What are you drinking today?
Guinness, brother. You gotta have Guinness on St. Patrick's Day.
Well, I don't, so I have Boddingtons. But right. I still like Boddingtons, so yeah. You know me, I'm not a big beer drinker.
Yeah.
All right, you crack yours, and I'll crack mine. Ooh, shit. I'm pouring the fucking... It smells like banana from this.
It does have a banana... Boddington's does have a bit of a banana flavor to it.
Well, it smells like banana.
It should, because of... Yeah.
It doesn't seem very Irish, but okay.
Well,
I mean, I wasn't expecting potato either, but... All right. Look, man, that is all head, and let's get foaming.
Well, see, mine's got to settle. See, so there you go.
Well, mine's got to settle too. It just...
Yeah, but see, Guinness you pour fast and let it settle. You probably can't see it, but see how it's getting darker.
Yeah,
it does that.
Yeah, you can fucking hang it. You could put a penny on yours.
This is a glass made of crystal directly from the brewery in Dublin.
Fucking A.
Yeah.
This is a glass that I took from my mom's dishwasher. It is imported glass.
That's a pretty cool looking glass, though. I like that glass.
I think it's Deutsch. It's
I think it is, yeah.
Spaten Mädchen.
Yeah, it sounds German.
Well, I don't know what to say.
No. So it's St. Patrick's Day, and here we are, and we, in our normal spirit of PodAskew, we're going to be discussing some St. Patrick's Day movies, or not St. Patrick's Day movies, but Boston-centric, since that's where the American Irish seem to come from primarily.
And on top of that, because, I mean, CJ is raised Irish, I have like a little bit of Scottish in me that really is kind of the extent of like, oh yeah, I got some,
right.
But my dad's from Massachusetts, so that's my connection to St. Patty's, I guess.
Yeah, and we tried to get your dad to come on, and a little bit of cold feet, but that's okay. We're not going to hold that against him. And
I will. No,
okay,
fuck
well,
you
can. I'm not going to do that, but I'm not going to hold it against him. I'm digging the hat, by the way. Do you like the hat look?
I like it. You should have figured out you had a niche before we had Mike finish the logo.
Well, right? Yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, you want to be creative?
Yeah. Which reminds me, cheers. Happy to you, brother. All right. So, which reminds me, we have to figure out our 1 year anniversary is coming up soon. We got to figure out what we're going to do for that. But
cocaine and hookers.
Yeah, that wouldn't go well on my end.
On your end. Oof.
So, that aside, so let's start this conversation, I think, with a little bit of history about the day itself. What do you think? And then we'll get into the more fun stuff.
You probably know more than I, but although I have actually had 2 customers yesterday tell me that St. Patrick wasn't Irish.
Well, let me see. I honestly, my knowledge comes from Wikipedia, which I have open. So if you give me a second, I can probably answer that question for you.
Okay.
Well, he was a bishop in Ireland. No, he's British, Roman British. I don't know what that means. I've never heard that term before. Let me see.
Sounds like he's an Italian English person.
Yeah, maybe.
Hey, there's my connection to St. Patty's is he was a Dago, or at least half a Dago.
All right, Roman British means it was the area of the island of Great Britain that was governed by the Roman Empire from 43 to 410 AD, and it composed of the whole of England and part of Wales and part of southern Scotland. So I'm not sure how that delineates when he was alive, meaning St. Patrick, but...
Fuck it, he's Italian.
He's Italian. That it said, but he was the reason we celebrate on Jesus. You chugging much?
You know what is like 12:30 or something? I figured if I can get away with getting a buzz, I'm going to do it on St. Patty's.
All right, I'm doing that after we get done. Anyway, so. Tradition, though, says that the reason we celebrated on March 17th is that was the day he died and was buried.
So basically, everyone who celebrates St. Patrick's Day is celebrating his death by drinking and acting like a fool.
Well, I'm sure that's not how it started. But yes, at this point, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, okay, so let's back up a little bit. So Patty's Day, St. Patrick's Day is really more of a religious holiday than a drinking holiday. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I feel like America's turned it into a drinking holiday. Whereas previously it was more of a religious observance. And there's a lot of religious observances. I know you're not practicing, and I don't either, but I at least remember my history. So
right.
Now, according to this, he lived from 385 to 461 AD, and going back to the other thing about the Roman Britain thing, that was from 43 to 410. So he would have been alive during that time period, which is why he's being labeled Roman Britain, I guess.
So, but he wasn't. So he's not Italian by blood. He's English. He's probably just British.
Yeah, he's probably just British, but he was in England when it was run by the Romans. So
it makes sense that I'm drinking a fucking English beer then.
I think so. I think you're handling that part of his heritage, and I'm handling the Irish part of it by drinking Guinness.
And he's a fake Italian, so I get that. We both get that.
Well, you're not.
You're more of a fake Italian than I am.
Well, not really.
Yeah, you kind of are.
Okay, well, whatever.
You're a fake Italian in reverse, in a weird roundabout way.
A reverse fake Italian? That's a thing?
Yeah, I think it's called Irish.
Oh, shit.
I mean, look, there are those that are like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Like Robert De Niro is only a quarter Italian, but he's always regarded as Italian American.
Right.
He's mostly like Irish and German and Welsh.
Now, beer's getting to you, isn't it?
Well, I fucking pounded that shit.
Yes, you did. Jesus.
I pounded that like better than Trump did to Stormy Daniels.
Ooh.
Oh, you know he didn't do shit. He was just like, okay, get on, go.
Oh, here's something interesting. Apparently, so... I know you're not a practicing Catholic or never really were, but
no.
Do you know what Lent is?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know what the concept of Lent is, where you give up something?
You give up something stupid for 40 days and 40 nights because everything in Catholicism and religion is always 40 for some reason.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of that. That's a whole nother
40 days, 40 nights.
Yeah.
Didn't fucking Moses wandered the fucking desert for 40 years.
Yeah, and Jesus was lost in the desert for 40 days. So
see, like it's something about 40. What? It's always that exact fucking number. I don't think. Look, Moses was lost. I'm sorry. He just needed fucking directions, and he was too proud to ask for directions. Someone actually did a whole map quest, like what it would actually take, how long it would take for someone to walk from A to B.
In 40 years. Yeah, it's not 40 years.
It takes like maybe 2 weeks.
Right. The story is the 40 years was punishment for the Israelites. Well, the Jews, because they weren't Israelites yet, but the Hebrews. That's the actual word. The Hebrews for worshiping the golden calf while Moses was up on Mount Sinai getting the 10 Commandments. And that was the 40 years.
He was told about it by a burning bush that no one else saw, and a voice that no one else heard.
Okay,
no, he was burning some other type of bush. That's some bullshit.
We're not here to debate the merits of the story. I'm just telling you what the story is. And it's a nice story. It's my favorite fictional fucking story. My point to all of that was that apparently there were restrictions during Lent back in the day on drinking alcohol, and on St. Patrick's Day they're lifted. And that's where the drinking on St. Patrick's Day has come from. That's the
it's the cheat day.
Basically, yeah. It's because St. Patrick's Day always falls during Lent, no matter what. Sometimes it's closer to the beginning, sometimes it's closer to the middle, but it always falls somewhere during Lent just because of when the Lent falls in the Roman Catholic calendar. And so this is your day, regardless of what day of the week it is, to be able to basically, like you said, cheat day.
And Ash Wednesday was recent, so
it was last week.
Yeah, is Ash Wednesday part of Lent? I honestly don't know.
It's the kickoff of Lent. It is the first day of Lent. Ash Wednesday.
So basically, you get to walk around with an ash cross on your forehead.
Yep.
For a while.
For a day.
And then
it usually only lasts a day.
I've seen people have it for like 3 or 4 days.
Well, then maybe they're getting more, because usually the first time you take or they're not showering, because as soon as you wash your face, it comes off like that. So.
Ew.
Yeah, well, that's another conversation. But anyway, go ahead with what your point was.
I was just because a friend of mine, I saw it, like most of the thing, a photo of him with fucking shit on his forehead. What is the point of Ash Wednesday?
Oh God, now you're testing my knowledge because I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it's something to do with. It has something to do with the burning of palms. So you know what Palm Sunday is? You've heard that term?
No.
It's the Sunday before Easter, and it has something to do with Passover, I think. And I'd have to start looking this stuff up. But every year you're supposed to get new palms on Palm Sunday, and you burn the previous year's palms, and that's the ashes you use for Ash Wednesday.
Got it.
And it's all connected somehow. I don't remember the details off the top of my head. Which is sad because in going back to St. Patrick's Day, my high school was a Roman Catholic high school, and our mascot was the Fighting Irish. So there you go.
Is there a not Fighting Irish? Is there a docile Irish?
After the movies I've seen over the last 2 days, no.
All right, let's talk about that. Let's talk about those fucking movies you saw.
Do you want to get into the movies first, or I know there's some stories you wanted to share. Do you want to save those for later?
I'll save them for later. Okay. Yeah.
So, in the spirit of this, I went and did the Boston movie marathon and watched Good Will Hunting, The Departed, and The Fighter. Now, to set that up, I had seen Departed once before. I had seen Good Will Hunting once before. The Fighter was a first view. I had never seen that before. So,
all right, let's talk about. We'll do it in that order. Let's do Good Will Hunting. So, what are your thoughts on Good Will fucking Hunting?
I've liked it. I liked it before. I liked it again. I'm gonna sound like I'm panhandling or not panhandling, pandering. But our Lord and Savior, Kevin Smith, is an executive producer on that movie. So
he was responsible for it really getting made.
Well, exactly. That's kind of where I was getting. And so I think, I don't know, me, anything Kev does, I try to give, credit to, and I probably hold it in a different light than, say, just a general movie. So, there is that. Hey, that aside, going back to what we were talking about with Good Will Hunting, I liked it a lot. I think it deserved what it won in terms of awards. I think Affleck definitely.
Robin Williams for best actor, best supporting actor. Matt and Ben for screenplays. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was good, and I think Affleck definitely got like dental work done after they got the money from that, because that's pretty obvious. But
yeah, he had his teeth capped.
But you know, that aside, it's a good movie. It's fun. His little brother's annoying as shit, but I think that's the idea. Yeah,
Casey Affleck is definitely supposed to be obnoxious in that movie. To be fair, they're all kind of obnoxious, with really the exception of Will. Will is the least obnoxious. But even Skylar, fucking his British girlfriend, Minnie Driver, is kind of obnoxious in a very attractive way.
I think that's the one small problem, no pun intended, that I had with that movie, is she looks too old to be the age she was playing.
I could agree with that. She looks like she's about 26. Whereas,
I would have put her closer to 30, visually speaking, and considering she was, you know, like supposed to be like 22, you know. Look, but did she do a good job? Yes, I have no objection to the job she did. I'm just saying I don't know that it was good casting.
I just remember watching it, I'm like, fucking, what's his face? Will is supposed to be turning 20 or 21
at the end of the movie? By the end of the movie, he turns 21, yeah.
So he and his friends have just been like in a bar drinking underage the whole fucking time.
Well, see, all right, so I can't speak to that specifically, except that I know people from South Philly. Now, that's more Italian than Irish. However, I think the same concepts apply in that if you know the local bar, like they know you, you know, from running around on the town, they're not going to card you. They know who you are. They're still going to let you come in. They're going to let you drink. You know what I'm saying? Like there's that camaraderie kind of thing of family, like, hey, almost family, you know, like.
I agree. You know, can you hear for our listeners, you may or may not hear this, but like there's also band practice going here at the same time. So I think they're just like, you guys might hear music in the background.
Well, right now I'm not hearing nothing, so I don't think so.
Okay. Well, at some point I might ask Steph to open the window so you guys can hear if it comes in.
Okay. Steph did a great job getting you that microphone she got you, because that's noise canceling. It's really does a good job. So kudos to Steph on that one. But yeah, I like the concept of the movie. I like the concept of the genius. I like watching Selleck get his ass kicked by Will. I know Selleck's not his name, or Savick. It's the same guy who plays the doctor from Thor and Avengers. It's Stellan Skarsgård. Selvig, that's it. Thank you.
Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, I liked watching him get his ass kicked, you know, mentally. Verbally and mentally.
He's underrated in that movie. Because he is essentially the antagonist in a weird way.
But also a support character in that you feel like, because I agree with you, there's an antagonist type of thing, but he also wants what's best for Will. Like there's like that double thing going on.
If we're really being honest, the biggest antagonist is Will himself.
Sure.
You know, he is both the protagonist and the antagonist. He just has to duke it out himself.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, it can't be a fucking 2-hour movie of him punching himself in the face repeatedly. But, I mean, we got to talk about the gem. I mean, honestly, kudos to Matt Damon and even Ben Affleck and Stellan Skarsgård and Minnie Driver. But Robin Williams is the fucking heart of this movie.
And for me, it was hard because I haven't watched that movie since he died. And it's not on purpose. It just hasn't been. So it sucks.
It sucks, man. It's such a good performance, and he's so heartfelt and genuine, and
yet still so Robin. Like there's still Robin within that character. You know,
there's glimmers of Robin for sure.
And
there's that part where he's talking about his wife, about how she farts in her sleep.
Yeah. Well, not just
that. Was
that,
all
but
improvised.
The chief in this, when he calls him chief and he calls him sport, like that, I guarantee you that wasn't in this script. I'm willing to put down an amount of money that's that was Robin, and they went, okay, stay with that. You know what I mean? Because that's something he uses in his stand-up all the time when he's referring to his kids.
I agree. I also think that whether it is a Massachusetts thing or not, it comes off like it could be a Massachusetts.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like it could be like a Southie. I don't know. I don't know Southie or Massachusetts. I mean, I do, but not to the extent of like what I would know they would call each other. Like I know what fucking Jimmys are, but like,
right.
You know.
But I think it was what I like about him using those is I felt like that was his way of showing dominance without being aggressive. That's what I felt about that.
I can agree. It's him showing alpha
without being confrontational or being confrontational even really. Like he didn't. Yeah.
Well, he passed that test when it was just the two of them just sitting there waiting for the time to tick away.
Yeah, for like 2 or 3 sessions. But yeah.
Well, that part where he's talking about his wife farting in her sleep, that was all improvised. And you could see Matt Damon like really struggling to breathe because that was not fucking planned. And you can actually see the camera shake a little bit when it does a close-up of Matt Damon. You can see the camera just sort of vibrate because the cameraman is pissing himself laughing so fucking hard.
Right. What I do like about it, and to take it back to something like Clerks for a minute, is that it does have that independent movie feel. And I do like that about it. I know it's a Miramax picture, but so was... See, that's the difference. Clerks wasn't ultimately released via Miramax. I think Miramax ended up backing Goodwill before the shooting started. Am I correct in that? Would you know? I can look it up, but I thought you might know.
I think Miramax was behind Goodwill Hunting, whereas Clerks was bought by Miramax later.
Exactly, that's my point. And
yeah, I think you're right.
But it still has that vibe of what Clerks had. Do you know what I'm saying?
It has a Miramax claw. And the weird thing is, it does have a Harvey Weinstein kind of feel to it.
Well, they all kind of, yeah.
Without being negative. Like, it has that, there's just that you look at it, you're like, okay, that's Miramax. Like, you could just tell. Like, I don't know. I don't know what another fucking Miramax movie at the top of my head. Chasing Amy. It's kind of like Chasing Amy, where it's like, it's small. You got Ben Affleck. Someone's in love, and someone's pissed off.
Definitely.
But I'm with you. I think a lot of what makes that movie great is the interactions between Robin Williams and Matt Damon. Because Matt Damon and Ben Affleck they made this movie to become known. Like, this was their big break.
Right, and a movie that I compare it to a lot for that, but it didn't get the awards that this movie got, was Swingers. Because Swingers is very similar for Jon Favreau and Vince Vaughn. They did very much the same thing. You know, they weren't getting roles. They were having trouble getting roles, so they wrote their own movie, and off they go. Now,
well, it goes even back to Rocky. Rocky was the one who did that first.
True. But I was thinking pairings, but you're right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But no, you're absolutely right. I think the good thing about... Well, the difference, I should say, between Swingers and Good Will Hunting is that Swingers didn't get the accolades, at least not at the level that Good Will Hunting got them.
Swingers is a cult classic, whereas Good Will Hunting is a classic.
Right, but Swingers is a fantastic fucking movie, and that's one we could deep dive another day. But that's one I really enjoy too. But yeah, no, the movie's good. I liked all of it. I loved when he sent Ben to the interview. Chucky. Yeah.
Chucky.
When he sends Chucky to the interview.
To me, that part kind of seems like the most out of place scene for me personally.
Well, it is kind of out of place, but I think it was, if I'm being honest, I think they did it to let Ben flex his muscle a little bit, because he doesn't get a whole lot of that throughout the rest of the movie. Well,
he flexes his. You're talking about his acting chops when you say muscle.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was fine. I think that whole movie did not need that scene. I think he was funny throughout the film, and I think he was serious throughout the film when he needed to be.
Oh yeah,
that scene. For me, that scene is the weakest part of the movie.
And maybe that's so, but I don't think it brings the movie down. Although
it is funny to hear him go, Retainer.
Yeah, it's and then he's got the fucking comb over, which he doesn't really need because he's got a full head of hair, but the way he's got it slicked over and stuff, it's just funny. To me, I enjoyed it. I get the point you're making, and I can't argue against it, but I enjoyed the scene. So
I think he's at his funniest where he's yelling at Casey Affleck over like a burger. Like they're like, "Can I go on a fucking hamburger?" He's like, "Here's your fucking sandwich."
Yeah, we'll do it layaway. You can pay me money. We'll leave it up on the dashboard. It'll be here. It'll be fine. It'll be waiting for you.
When you're done with you give me a 6 cents every fucking day, and then eventually you'll get your goddamn sandwich. I want my fucking sandwich. Here's your fucking sandwich.
Will you stop jerking off in my mother's bedroom? Well, I got a VCR in my house.
Like, tell me you did not fucking jerk it in my goddamn my little league glove. It's like, no, I didn't. I just used it for the cleanup.
That's nuts. It was weird for me to see Benny. That was the weird part for me. So Benny? The fourth guy in the crew, so not Damon or either Affleck, is one of the guys from Dazed and Confused.
Oh, really?
Yeah. How well do you remember that movie?
Not well at all.
Okay. Well, he's one of the seniors that's going around and, trying to kick the shit out of the freshmen. But his character's name is Benny. So anytime I see him in anything, I just think Benny. I know that's not his real name, and I'm sure he's doesn't appreciate that. But
do you like apples?
Oh, God. Applesauce, bitch.
Well, I got a number. How you like them apples? Yeah, that's a good... It's a stupid fucking cheesy line, but it works so well because you're seeing this tough Irish Boston kid be like, "Hey, you like apples?" Yeah. Well, how you like them apples? Like,
see, and you tell me what you think, but the scene from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back actually kind of ruined that part for me a little bit.
Well, I agree because I saw Strike Back before I saw Good Will Hunting.
Okay, so did I.
So, for when that scene came up, I mean, it actually kind of made it more interesting because I was like, I never seen Good Will Hunting, so I'm watching this pseudo sequel spoof scene, and then seeing Good Will Hunting, I'm like, oh, this is actually fucking funnier now because it's applesauce, bitch.
I kind of want the sequel now. I kind of want that sequel, not a sequel, but that sequel.
Hunting season.
Yeah, but
only if Casey Affleck comes back and is even more obnoxious and jerking off on like Little League. Like he's just jerking off on the Little League plate.
Well, and I don't know how to transition away from that, but I will tell you that Robin, I think, gives the best line in the movie. Ben has the best monologue, in my opinion, and I'll get to that in a second, but Robin has the best line in the movie when he's reading the note at the end, and he's like, "Son of a bitch stole my line." The way he delivered it.
And that was improvised.
Was it really? See, that doesn't surprise me, because it's Robin. And
it's Robin.
They literally could have just said, "Robin, you're a doctor. You're like a psychologist, and go." And you know what I mean? Like, really, they could have. He's that good. So, but I think Ben's got... Go ahead.
There's one part where he is yelling at Stellan Skarsgård. He calls him mathematical dick.
Yeah.
It's not about that, you mathematical dick. You're trying to fuck him up or you're trying to fuck me up.
Yep. But the best monologue has got to be when it's Ben and Will, so Chucky and Will, standing outside the construction site, and he goes into the whole thing about, what the best part of my day is? And that whole monologue, I think it's really good. I like that a lot.
And I would say Kevin has said this before, and I do agree that Ben does a scene at the end of the movie where he realizes his best friend's gone, where he has this look on his face, which is just, he's gone. My friend's gone. Like, he didn't say goodbye. He just left. And it's what I wanted, but it's still shocking and heartbreaking. And Ben does a very good job. But, we got to give credit to Matt. Matt Damon.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He's learning some acting chops in here. And the part where, it's really fucking sad because it's Robin Williams is dead, but like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault, Will. It's not your fault. You're just like, oh,
that's
fuck.
heartbreaking. Yeah, that's
oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. It's just like, and you just see, there's this part where Matt tries to, or Will tries to brush off, like, I know. He's like, no, you don't. It's not your fault. Like, and it's just like, it shrugs it, like, yeah, I know. It's like, no, you don't. It's not your fault.
You know what I see a lot of from that, like, later is Rounders. I feel like we don't get Matt Damon that we get in Rounders if it wasn't for Good Will Hunting. That's my opinion.
I would agree. I would also say we would not have gotten his creepy but still excellent performance in The Talented Mr. Ripley.
I didn't see that, so I can't speak to that.
Oh, shit. That's probably the closest you'll ever see Matt Damon be a fucking bad guy. Like
he rarely plays like, and actually, I know you wanted to do him in the order I watched, but let's skip to The Fighter first because I don't have a whole lot to say about it except that.
Sure.
I mean, it's good. I liked it a lot.
Do you like boxing movies?
I do. If they're well done. Some of them aren't so good. Some of them are better. You know, obviously Rocky. You know, even some of the Rocky ones aren't as good as some of the other ones. But that's a whole nother debate and conversation. But like,
no. Yeah, I agree.
But generally speaking, like, yeah, I even like that. What was it called? I think Real Steel. It was Hugh Jackman and it was robots boxing. But it was actually a really good movie.
Okay.
You know, so I saw that look like fuck you.
No, I didn't. No, you're reading into it. I didn't have a fuck you. I just have a fuck you face.
Well, that's true. So no, but yeah, I do in generally. I don't watch them all. Like I didn't like the one that Eastwood directed. $1
Million Baby?
Yeah, I didn't. I'm not saying it was bad, but I didn't enjoy it as much as other ones.
That's fair. I mean, no, it's wrong, but I can appreciate your...
It's wrong? Why is it wrong?
That's a really good fucking boxing movie because it actually talks about the mechanics of boxing. It's not just underdog fighting. It's less about boxing, but when it does talk about boxing, it's all about the proper way of standing and fighting like a boxer. Because I know people that have like watched Rocky and think they're going to fucking go in the ring by like studying his movements, like chasing chickens and shit.
Yeah.
But really, you know, $1 Million Baby and The Fighter, I will say is really accurate.
Yeah. Oh, and I would argue Cinderella Man was pretty accurate.
I think it was pretty, well, it's accurate. It's embellished. It's all obviously, you know.
Not the story. I'm talking about to your point.
Well, it is, but it's only relevant for like the 20s and the 30s.
Okay, well, that's fair. I can.
Like boxers don't do that shit anymore.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Like I actually enjoyed Cinderella Man better than $1 Million Baby. I'm not telling you it's a bad movie. I'm telling you what I enjoyed better.
Well, out of those two, yeah, I agree. Cinderella Man is a better movie than $1 Million Baby, but
especially because the ending to $1 Million Baby just I hated it. I mean, yeah.
Him sitting down with key lime pie.
No, I mean step further back than that. Like what? Yeah.
For those who haven't seen it, yeah.
You know, so, and I know we usually spoil shit, but there's just no point.
That's a movie you don't really want to spoil, though.
Okay, I'm fine with that, but I'm saying...
You know, all right, fine, fuck it. Morgan Freeman gets anally raped by a goddamn jaguar. I'm sorry, that's just the end of the movie.
We saw drastically different movies.
It cost him $1 million. That's why it's called $1 Million Baby.
Yeah, I think you were watching the wrong movie, my friend.
Or was I? Was I right watching the right movie?
Okay, but that aside, I am a very mild boxing fan in general. So I've watched boxing. Like I don't usually get like pay-per-views, and I'm not like, oh my god, the next big thing. But I've watched some fights, and I've enjoyed some fights. So Mickey Ward is somebody I was familiar with. I knew that name, you know, and I'd seen him fight. And I'm gonna be perfectly honest with you. Going into the movie was not aware. I knew it was a true story. I was not aware it was about Mickey Ward, if that makes sense. So like I knew it was based on true story, but I didn't put together that it was that guy. Do you know what I'm saying?
The pride of Lowell.
Right. So it was nice, and I've seen Mickey Ward fight. Like I've actually seen some of his fights. So it was cool to kind of see. Now I saw, if you remember I wouldn't call it a post-credit scene, but the thing they put up on the screen that they usually do with true stories, like so-and-so is now doing this, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they talk about the trilogy of fights he had with Arturo Gatti. I saw a couple of those fights. So they weren't featured in the movie, but
they've been talking about making a sequel of the Arturo Gatti fight.
Well, there's 3 of them, technically. He fought him 3 times.
Yeah, they were talking about maybe making another one, or at least maybe a second and a third one.
Sure.
I'd love to see it. I mean, and I don't say this often, but Mark Wahlberg is really good in this movie.
Are you not a fan of his? I didn't know that.
I'm not a fan. I'm just not a big fan. Like, there's a lot of movies I'm like, wow, dude, Mark Wahlberg was fucking awesome. But there's a difference between being awesome and being really good as an actor.
You know where I'd like to see him show up? And this just hit me for some reason. I don't know why. I'd like to see him show up in the Guardians series somewhere. Maybe not like a primary role. Like, I'm not saying take over for Star-Lord or something, but just like a Ravager. You know?
I could see that. I could see him be a little disheveled and... What? No.
That's terrible.
No, he'll be like, "Hi, Star-Lord. How you doing? Are you a Guardian? I'm a Ravager. What are you gonna do about that, huh? So say hello to your mother for me."
He's a better actor than that, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he is. I really do.
Is he though?
Yeah, I do.
I don't think so.
Okay, well, just because you're an elitist.
I'm an elitist. He is a very entertaining actor, and I like movies that he's in to a certain degree. But him in The Fighter, he is completely overshadowed by everyone else.
If you're talking about that movie, yes, I agree. I'm talking overall. I think he's a better actor than you're giving him credit for.
He's a decent actor, but he's also given some great fucking, like, exquisite acting.
Oh, sure. But there's a lot of actors that have done that. So, I mean, I can't...
Yeah, but he's like a subtle Nicolas Cage for me.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't think he's Nick Cage. But anyway,
What?
That aside, so...
No.
But I liked it. I liked Christian Bale. I thought he did a good job.
I've seen footage of Dickie Eklund.
Yeah.
And he nails the chatterbox, the crack method, the delusion of just him being like, you know, this delusion of grandeur of who he is and how he's like, oh, you know, I knocked down Sugar Ray Leonard and blah, blah, blah.
I got to be honest with you. I really want to go find that documentary.
Oh, what's it called? Crack on the Street or something like that?
Crack in America, I think it was called.
Crack in America.
Yeah. I kind of want to go find that and watch it.
It's probably on HBO.
Well, I don't know. I mean, they can only keep so much up there. It was on HBO when it aired, obviously. But I mean, I'd be curious to see it. I'd be curious how accurate they kept it, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think I've seen clips of it, but I've seen Mickey Ward and Dickie Eklund just sitting there talking. Dickie Eklund apparently was not thrilled about how he was portrayed, even though he totally was like, "Oh yeah, you know, just portray me how you would." But he did not like how his sisters and his mother was portrayed.
Well, listen, if that's how they really were, fuck them. That's kind of my opinion.
Oh yeah, they are awful.
I was watching it with Deb watched it with me, and we were sitting there, and I'm like, Christ, these people are fucking nuts. Like, I mean, Jesus, like the delusions of grandeur they all seem to have was frightening. Yeah. You know,
and just wearing down Mickey Ward, just wearing him down.
Yeah.
And I will give Mark Wahlberg credit when that part is just like, it's not you or you. It's me fighting the ring. Fuck all you. It's not you or you. Like, you know, it's a very small scene, but like that's where he's just like,
yeah,
I'm tired of you all fucking wearing me down. It was insanely funny to see, like, 11 daughters climb out of one fucking car. That was fucking hysterical.
I hope Angela really kicked the shit out of them the way Amy Adams beat the shit out of like 2 of them.
I just couldn't help but think it was a clown car. Like,
right? Yeah, but it was. Look, I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. If I'm ranking boxing movies, it's probably closer to the bottom, but it's not. You know,
is it above $1 Million Baby?
Oh yeah. For me, it is.
Wow, you. All right. Have you seen Raging Bull?
No, I haven't seen Raging Bull, so I can't rank that in there.
You should see Raging Bull. There are some good boxing movies.
Oh yeah, look, I mean, probably because of where I live and where I grew up, Rocky's always going to hold like a special place for me. I mean, obviously, it's not, as you were saying earlier, it's not very accurate in terms of boxing and the way boxing is done and training is done, but it makes for a good story. It makes for a good movie. You know,
fighting wise, it is, but I would imagine the ridiculousness of like, oh, you gotta, chase this chicken,
yeah,
and then catch the chicken, then you fast, and if you fast, then you win, and if you win, that's what life is all about. Like,
really,
yeah.
Really quick, I'm just curious, and I don't know if they did this with other boxing movies, to be honest with you, but do you know how they shot the boxing scenes in Rocky?
Yeah, they did it back. Are you asking which order they filmed it in?
Well, that's kind of my point. They shot them from the latest round to the first round so they could peel the prosthetics or makeup off as opposed to doing it up, which I think is a kind of neat way to do it.
I also saw Creed 2 recently. If we're talking about boxing movies, which is
I have not seen that yet. So, and I'm asking you not to spoil that one for me.
It's good. I'll just say it's good. It kind of comes off like a direct-to-DVD movie that was released theatrically. Like, it's not Creed, but it's also one of the better Rocky movies. But it's kind of like, you know how like you would see like Rocky 4 or 5 sort of being released DVD?
Yeah.
It's like
5 especially. Not 4's on the border, 5, yeah.
So it's on that border of like 4. It's kind of like, oh well, this could have been released. This was in theaters? Really? I didn't know that.
We can do a Rocky thing later, but the one thing I love about the whole Rocky series is it seems like they basically retconned 5. Because when you go from 4 to Rocky Balboa, it's almost like 5 never fucking happened.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah,
there's
with
enough.
The exception with him losing his fortune. That's really the big.
But that's it. Like, none of the other Tommy Gunn, all that crap, like, it never fucking happened. You know what I mean?
Well, they almost kind of reference it because, I don't want to ruin it for you, but, like, you actually kind of see this in the trailer.
It's been years, but do you mean in Creed 2?
Creed 2.
Oh,
Creed
okay,
2,
yeah.
They kind of reference it because Stallone tells Adonis to not go after the Russian and his kid. He's like, listen, this guy, when he went and attacked me, he broke things that ain't never been fixed. Yeah. And that's really what a lot of 5 is about, is him dealing with the mental repercussions of getting his ass handed to him by fucking Drago.
Okay, so let me revise my statement. They just retcon the boxing portion of.
They
5.
retcon Tommy Gunn. That's really what they did.
Right, but I mean, you're right, because he's not like desolate poor, but he's definitely not as rich as he was when he's doing the restaurant. I mean, he had enough money.
He had to go back to being a working man.
Yeah. So anyway, but we'll deep dive that series another day because that could be fun. But yeah. So just to tie up the fighter real quick, I think it's a good movie. I enjoyed it. It fit what you wanted me to do for today's episode. So I'm glad I got it in because I wasn't sure if I was going to get the opportunity, and it turns out I did. So there you go.
And now The Departed.
Yes, The Departed. So
no, The Departed.
Okay, well, I don't have the accent, so fuck off.
Fuck you.
Hey, you're the voice guy on this show. I'm the
true.
straight man. You're the voice guy.
So I'm not touching that one. Go ahead.
Thanks. Anyway, taking a step back for a second, as I mentioned earlier, I'd seen Good Will Hunting and The Departed before. But for both of them, I'm going to say it was 10 years since I've seen either of them.
Well, that would make sense. The Departed came out in, what, 2006 or 7? So
Yeah, and I didn't see it when it came out. I think I saw it a couple years after. Like, I didn't see it right away. And Good Will Hunting, I actually don't remember the first time I saw it. I just don't.
Really?
Yeah. I know I've seen it before. That I know for a fact, but I don't remember when it was. So,
what did you think of The Departed?
I liked it. I mean, and I certainly remembered things. Like, going into it, I remember thinking, like, when I turned it on to this time, I remember thinking to myself, okay, I really don't remember anything about this. And then as things happened, I was like, oh, yeah, I know what's coming next. And not in a way that it was like, okay, well, now I'm bored, but like, okay, I remember this. You know what I mean? And the same thing happened to Deb, because she watched it with me, or most of it with me. And, you know, so there were certain things that we remembered. I definitely have some questions that you may be able to answer.
Sure,
but
lay 'em on me.
But the biggest one is about the ending, to be honest with you. So I don't know if we want to go right there yet. But
Well, yeah, lead up your other questions first. We'll say that.
well, no, I mean, just I'm conflicted about how I feel about Damon in the movie. Like, not him, the actor, but the character. So
Yeah.
it's weird. Like, the whole thing is weird. First off, it's a heavy fucking cast.
One of the big ensemble casts.
It's a big player cast, you know, between Jack Nicholson, Matt Damon, Martin Sheen, Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm not doing them in any particular order. I'm just
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, which if it's got Boston, he's probably in it. Let's just be honest.
For sure.
And
the only person who's not in it that you would expect to be in it is Ben Affleck.
Yeah, basically. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Argo has like a Boston roots to it. I mean, I know the movie takes place in like Libya or whatever, but like
The Town is a Boston movie.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that one too.
And Gone Baby Gone, which we should also talk about. I mean, those are both movies that I would want to talk about on this, but we could. I don't think
I can't really speak to those two because I've never seen them, but I will tell you, I always get Gone Baby Gone and Gone Girl confused.
They're very different films.
No, I'm sure that they are. I'm not saying that they're not, but from a title perspective, I always get them confused.
Right.
Is Gone Girl or Massachusetts based too?
No. But Gone Girl is Missouri.
Is it? I mean, I've seen it, but I don't remember where it took place. That's what I'm saying.
It's Missouri, I think, yeah.
Okay.
But The Departed is actually a remake of a Chinese film.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Called Infernal Affairs. And it even went off and made like Infernal Affairs 2 and 3. I like The Departed more than I like Infernal Affairs, even though Infernal Affairs is a very good Hong Kong movie.
Okay. I'm gonna sound like I'm making a joke, but I'm not. Is Jackie Chan in that movie? Because if it's Hong Kong, he's usually in it. So
no.
I wasn't making a joke.
No, I know.
Okay.
Because he's in Hong Kong cinema as well. I mean, I will always say I love Goodfellas more because I think Goodfellas is a better film and also it has the Italian-American roots to it. But Departed is definitely one of the greatest Scorsese films and one of the greatest gangster movies, especially for the Irish Boston Mafia, which movies like Good Will Hunting and even Gone Baby Gone made The Departed possible.
Right. Okay.
And The Departed is essentially it's a flip of Goodfellas. It's Irish Boston instead of New York Italian, and it's more about cops infiltrating the mafia and the mafia infiltrating the cops, whereas Goodfellas is about a mobster who becomes a fucking, rat at the end of the film.
Right. Which I'd actually have to go back and see that again because I've only seen it once. But
oh god, Goodfellas is such an amazing.
I know
film.
it's one of your favorites, and I'm not saying
that's on HBO Go if you need to rewatch it.
I'm sure it is. There's so many other things I'm trying to catch up on, but we talked about the cast. There's two people I feel like we left out that I need to reference. One's not actually in the cast, but it's still a name I think we need to mention. But in the cast itself, Alec Baldwin as well, which we didn't talk about. He's in the movie.
He is so fucking funny in that movie.
He really is. I'm trying to not get off, but I love him as Jack Ryan. I wish he had done more of those.
I know you did. I know you did.
But Brad Pitt produced this thing. Did you know that?
I think I did know that. It was never ingrained like, oh yeah, it's a Brad Pitt movie because it's not a Brad Pitt movie, but
it's a Scorsese movie.
It's a Scorsese movie, but I think I remember hearing that. I also want to say Tobey Maguire was in some way connected to it, like he was going to produce it, or I mean, it could just be that his best buddy Leo is in it. But I heard a rumor that
I didn't know that.
Oh, they're best buddies.
Okay.
They're like they were super close buddies when they were like kids, and they made a pact like they will always try to help each other's career as much as they can throughout the years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's Leo, Tobey Maguire, and the guy who plays E on Entourage. They're all in their own Leo entourage.
Okay.
Which is why when I watch Entourage, it's supposed to be based on Mark Wahlberg's life, going back to fucking Marky Mark.
Right.
But really, I would argue that Entourage is more based on the Leo Tobey Maguire Entourage.
No, I'm sitting here and I'm reading a little bit over The Departed on Wikipedia, and it makes me wish I'd watched a different movie instead of The Fighter. Not that I didn't like The Fighter, but to be ready for this conversation, and I wish I had seen Public Enemies, because I've not seen that yet.
Public Enemies is a good movie, but it has nothing to do with Boston or I mean, maybe Irish, but really nothing to do with Boston. I would have recommended Black Mass, which I have talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
Black Mass, for those who don't know, Jack Nicholson's character, Frank Costello, is based loosely, but really kind of just based on the gangster Whitey Bulger, who was we did talk about on one of the episodes way back when, he had just died. So, and Black, go ahead.
Am I getting my movies confused between Public Enemies and Black Mass? I might be getting my movies confused. I
think you are.
Okay.
Because Johnny Depp is in it, and he plays a gangster in both, but Johnny Depp was playing John Dillinger in Public Enemies, who was a Prohibition 1920s, 30s gangster.
I think I said the wrong movie. That's my fault.
Black Mass is really what you're trying to say. And to be fair, The Departed is a superior film, but Johnny Depp playing the Nicholson, Frank Costello, Whitey Bulger role is some of the best villain acting I've seen Depp do.
I've heard that. I've heard he's scary good in that movie.
Terrifying.
Right.
There's a part, if I could just ruin a part.
Sure.
Where because the character Whitey Bulger and Frank Costello and the real Whitey Bulger was like a leader called the Winter Hill Gang or the Winter Hill Mob or something. And he was basically he ran Boston, and in a criminal way. He was known his name was James Bulger, or Jimmy, but he was known as Whitey because he had super blonde hair that almost white. He hated the fucking name Whitey. Anyone who called him Whitey to his face would end up dead, basically. And he, the FBI, but specifically an agent who knew Whitey Bulger from the old neighborhood from way back when, goes to him and says, listen, let's form an alliance. You give us information about the Italian mafia in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, and we'll give you some leeway to do some of your enterprises, but no killing. Even though being a rat is the worst fucking thing.
Sure. And
the worst thing to look down upon in the mafia, Whitey Bulger said, okay, fuck it, and became an informant. He didn't really inform them of anything. And the FBI agent was really hiding the fact. He was just getting other testimonies from other informants and saying it was Whitey Bulger.
Mm.
And Whitey Bulger took advantage of that and just said, fuck it, I'm going to kill everybody. I'm going to kill all my enemies because now I've got a free pass from the FBI. So there's a part, and it's featured in the trailer. You can see it. If they feature the trailer.
We're going to spoil this one. There's a couple we did, and we're spoiling this one. Go ahead.
There's two scenes, and they're right next to each other. It shows Whitey, and I have a love for this because this was the first rant that I released on Rico's Rants. My very first episode was Black Mass.
Oh, Black Mass. Okay, I thought you meant The Departed. Yeah. I
did do a Departed episode, but no, the first episode I did was Black Mass. So I have a real love for Black Mass because it's essentially like, so Whitey Bulger and then another of his gangster buddies are at a FBI agent's house with the other FBI agent, the one that is like brought them all together. And they're having dinner, and the agent's wife is pretending to be sick because she just doesn't want to go and sit down next to Whitey Bulger. She wants nothing to do with him. So she's pretending to be sick upstairs. And Whitey says to one of the agents, he said, you and me, we're going to have a sit down because this is one of the best fucking steaks I've ever had in my life. What's your secret? He's like, oh, no, it's a secret. It's a secret recipe.
Right.
Oh, come on. I got a knife here. What's the secret recipe? He said, it's garlic and a little bit of soy. And he said, that's it. There's a small pause. And he says, I thought you said it was a family secret. The guy says, no, it's a recipe. No. You said it was a secret family recipe, and you gave it up to me just fucking like that. Who's to say that you won't start talking about me? Well, listen, I was just saying. Just saying gets people buried pretty fucking quick.
Yeah.
And he's looking at him, and you see the color. It's the guy who is from Stranger Things, and he's also in Hellboy. He's the new Hellboy, David Harbour, I guess.
I've seen part of the trailer, and I've never watched Stranger Things, so I can't really.
You'll know who I'm talking. You'll see, like, oh, it's that guy. So whoever the fuck that guy is, you see his eyes just go dead, and the color drain from his face, and he realizes that he's just being threatened.
Right.
And then Whitey just fucking cackles, and he's just like, look at his fucking face. Look at his face. He's like, listen, hey, it's a fucking recipe. Steak is amazing. I'm fucking with you. Don't worry about it. So that's one scene. And it almost is kind of played off like the Funny How kind of scene in Goodfellas.
Right.
Funny How, my head clown. Yeah. It's like that. But the next scene gives me fucking chills. And it's him saying, where's your wife? He's like, oh, she's upstairs. She's just not feeling very well. It's like, well, let's go check on the little lady. And he gets up and leaves and goes upstairs, starts trying to open the door. And then she thinks it's her husband. She yells, John, I'm not. And he's like, oh, I thought you were John. No, it ain't John. And he said, why don't you come down? It's like, oh, Jimmy, I'm just not feeling very well. And he's like, listen, we both know what you're doing. You're embarrassing your husband. He's got his friends over. Just come on down. Let's have a drink with us. Jimmy, honestly, I just don't feel very good. He's like, well, let's see what's wrong with you. And he puts his fucking hand on her face and just starts rubbing the back of his hand and his fingers up and down. He's like, nah, you don't feel clammy. You don't feel cold. You don't feel hot. He's like, well, let's check to see if anything's swollen. And he starts squeezing her throat real gently.
Yeah.
He's like, is that tender? Is that tender? Is that swollen? I don't, you got to be careful with these things because if it's just a sickness, it could be something else. And take it from me, you don't want to be too sick. And then he sort of takes a step back, and she has this look of just like she's suppressing revulsion and fear, and she's just slowly sort of crying, and he knows what he's doing.
Right, of course, yeah.
And he is looking at her, and he just kind of goes, John's a lucky man, and just walks away. And I'm like, oh shit,
Okay,
Johnny.
I just got chills listening to you describe it, so I can only imagine. Yeah,
it is so fucking terrifying. Because Whitey was that guy.
Yeah, for sure. But let's get back into the movie itself. Like, so I always took, and I'm kind of conflicted on this, so I'd like your feedback actually, because I always took Damon's character. Name, where is it? Colin Sullivan. So I always took his character as someone who wanted to be a real cop, and to a degree is a real cop, but just because of the act of kindness that Frank showed him earlier in his life, is helping, giving Frank the help that he, at least at the beginning. I don't know by the end of it, but in the beginning for sure.
In the beginning, see, the great thing about The Departed is that Damon's character and DiCaprio's character are just flip sides of a fucked up coin.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Yeah.
One was raised as basically with the criminal background and is looked down upon. Leo DiCaprio's character he's got that stigma that his uncle and his father were in the mafia.
Right.
And he desperately wants to be a cop.
Right.
Whereas Damon, I kind of envision came from a working class cop family.
And right.
But without a prominent father figure. And Nicholson sort of lassoed him and influenced him and made him a criminal. And I think it just goes to show what influence does. That Leo could have easily been that kid where that Damon became. Damon is really the Darth Vader of this movie.
Yeah.
And Nicholson is the Emperor.
Yeah. If we're going to do a Star Wars comparison, sure.
Well, I'm trying to think of another good analogy. I'm just trying to think of there's the evil in the background. That's the puppeteer.
No, I'm not saying it's a bad analogy. I'm just saying if that's the analogy we're going to use, I have to agree with you. That's all. Right. But, But the question still stands for me is he a good person who just was watching out for Frank, or was he a shitty person who weaseled his way into the police department?
I think you're talking about Matt Damon?
Yeah.
I think he wants to think that he is a good person, but he also knows that he's a bad guy who wants to be a good guy. I think he would have tried to have just gone straight and be a cop and be happy and have a family and everything. But I think that he got so wrapped up. I mean, he went from like anti-hero and sort of tragic figure throughout the film. You're kind of like, well, maybe he's just stuck.
Yeah.
And then he fucking kills everybody at the fucking end.
Right.
And you're like, oh, fuck this guy. Fuck him. He is a straight up bad guy.
Right. Well, and I guess that kind of leads me to my biggest question is Wahlberg's character.
Mm-hmm.
I still to this day don't know if he's a good guy, bad guy, what. Like, and I've seen it twice now.
I would say, well, the funny thing is Mark Wahlberg didn't want to do the movie. He didn't want to play a cop. And then Scorsese said, well, if you're going to do this, you should do it how you would want to do it. And he said, okay, well, I'm going to base it on every fucking cop that's ever fucked with me. That's going to be my performance. Every cop that gave me shit in Massachusetts when I was a kid.
Well, and he's got a record, too, if I recall. He actually has a jail record.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. He was a drug dealer, and he, he literally attacked a Vietnamese guy and, racially, was yelling racial slurs at him and blinded him. Blinded an old Vietnamese guy.
Yeah, when he was way young, super, super young. Yeah.
But, and I think he's atoned for that, but at the same time, it's even he has said, it is insane how I have a life of luxury that I make millions of dollars to play pretend when I was a criminal growing up. He's like, that is so insane to me.
Yeah, but to your point, he's atoned because I know he's donated a shit ton of time and money back to kind of that, not just a community, but just,
I think he found the guy that he blinded and was just like, I was just a lost kid. I was wrong in every aspect that I did. What can I do to make it? I hope so. If he didn't, fuck, dude, Mark, you got to get your shit together and find that old dude and fucking make. You want to repent? Repent, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I've heard him. He's trying to. I know he tried to get. He tried to get a pardon. That failed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if it says it because I actually pulled up his wiki because I wanted to look at it. In 2006, hold on.
Yeah.
He met. Okay, in 2006. No, in 2006 he had not met with him yet, but in 2016 he did and had the opportunity to apologize to the guy.
So it took him 30 years to apologize, or 25 years to apologize. 30 years. Yeah. If what he did happened in the early to mid 90s, then
it was 88. So 28 years.
That's a long time. That's 35 years, dude.
Well, it is a long time, but I mean, you have to look at a couple of things. Like, was it not easy for him to find the guy? I mean, there's all kinds of different things. So, I mean, like, look, I'm not making excuses. I'm saying that there's a lot of factors we don't know enough about to be able to comment on.
That's very true. We don't know enough, and all kidding aside, what he did was awful, and yes. I hope both parties are satisfied with the culmination and the closure.
And
that being said.
Oh, I was going to say, and to be fair, I've heard interviews where he's talked about just his past as a whole, not specific incidents like this person, where he seems very
regretful.
Regretful. I was going to say, there's a word I'm thinking of, but I can't get it out of my mouth. But where he generally has remorse for what he's done. You know what I mean? So it's not just he's not saying it. Right, and he's not saying it to say it because he's a public figure. He's saying it because he actually feels that what he did was wrong. You know what I mean? So he's trying to shed his previous life. I mean,
he's even was getting laser treatment for all his tattoos. He's getting them all removed.
Oh, is he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
You just I'm done. I'm a father and I'm a husband and I'm an actor. I'm not Marky Mark anymore.
I'd have to look it up, but have you heard his routine? Have you seen that?
His routine?
Yeah, he's up at 3 a.m. and by 6
his workout routine? Yeah, dude.
Ridiculous.
And that goes back to the fighter. He had been trying to get the fighter made to play Mickey Ward for 8 years. So he was prepping and training as a boxer for 7 or 8 years just on the off chance that they would fucking make this movie. So he was getting up at 3 or 4 in the morning every day, regardless of whether it was Greenlee. He's just, I'm born to play this fucking role. It's going to happen with or without you. But just in case, I got to make sure I got a body of a boxer.
Right. And
he does. He is fucking swole.
Yeah, and he still does it apparently. That's not something he just stopped after the fight. He still does to this day.
Because he wants to make the fucking sequels. That's why.
Yeah. But anyway, just getting back to The Departed, I to this day don't know though, even having just finished watching it 4 hours ago, where his character ends up.
His character gets away with it.
Well, no shit, but I mean, did he?
Is he a villain or is he a hero? Is that thing?
Right, exactly.
He is neither. He is the only thing about his character that's significant is that Martin Sheen was murdered, and he holds DiCaprio responsible. He holds Costello responsible, and then once he finds out about fucking Colin, Matt Damon's character,
right,
he holds him entirely responsible.
Right.
And they already didn't like each other. They had that fucking brawl in the office. So that was just good old fashioned Irish Boston revenge.
Right. Right.
That's all it was. He's neither good nor bad.
That's kind of it's like that
he's
scene
just a man who lost his friend.
Right. It's like that scene in Good Will Hunting where they're driving down the street and they saw the Italian guy from the baseball game or whatever and just stop and beat the shit out of him for basically what seemed to be no reason, honestly. But
yes, for something that happened to him in 20 years or 15 years previously.
Right. Exactly. So it's the same kind of concept, Yeah. And we're not, I want to be clear to our listeners. Right, and I want to be clear to our listeners, we're not picking on the Irish, because there's plenty of cultures that do that same kind of shit. The Italians do that kind of crap all the time.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And I know, look, The Germans were subdued about how we do that kind of stuff. It may not be as blatant as, say, like just stopping on the side of the street, kicking the crap out of somebody, but we know how to get our revenge when we need it. So,
yeah, you go to fucking wars over it.
Well, yeah, I was thinking smaller scale, but sure.
No, I think that's more appropriate. The Germans take it to a fucking even more extreme.
Yeah, probably. So anyway,
today the streets, tomorrow the world.
Yeah, I just wanted our listeners to know that we're not coming down on anybody, really. We're just talking.
No, we're not saying the Irish and the Italians and Germans and Jews and everybody.
Yeah,
we're just saying that what we are agreeing is that there is a male macho fucking thing, especially in Massachusetts and New York. It is kind of once you get a bunch of fucking testicles together, someone's going to get punched in the face. That's really the truth of what we're saying.
But I think that could happen in New York, Boston, or St. Louis. Like, I think that could happen really anywhere you go. Do you know what I mean?
But it's very prevalent in Boston.
Sure. But it's not exclusive, and that's really the point. Yeah.
What we're saying are men are stupid and they'll fight all the time for
and
no
we're
fucking
men,
reason.
so we'll. Yeah, I've been in plenty of brawls in my day, and I've lost most of them, but that's beside the point. So,
I've gotten into fucking fistfights that make no bit of sense.
Yeah.
I got into a fist fight at Safeway over a parking spot.
Okay, there you go.
Like, I didn't want to fight the motherfucker, but all of a sudden I'm in the middle of a fucking fight.
Yeah.
So that's always what always is amazing to me. I'm just like, oh, this is happening. Because I'm never looking for a fight. I'm not that like, hey, that's that cocksucker who fucking knocked me down in third grade.
Right.
I'm not that guy. I'm always like, oh, there is that cocksucker who knocked me down in third grade. Fucking piece of shit. And then all of a sudden they recognize me like, hey, fuck you. Oh, fuck you too. And then we all of a sudden we're fighting.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately I haven't had those moments, but I know what you're talking about.
Motherfucker stole my goddamn chocolate milk money.
God damn it.
Fucking stealing my chocolate milk. Anyways.
Cocksucker.
What we gotta do, cocksucker. Yeah, fucking cocksucker. Speaking of which, we gotta talk about Jack Nicholson.
About what?
Jack Nicholson.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Like, all right, well, you say what you have to say first, because I think I have less positive things to say than you do.
Okay. What I loved was that he had done a lot of romantic kind of lighthearted comedies before he did this, and this was an opportunity for him to be, in his own mind, the incarnation of evil.
Okay.
Because, there are people of an age group that don't know that Nicholson was a fucking villain in movies.
Right.
Like, they watch As Good as It Gets. They watch About Schmidt. They watch where he's always the father of the lead, and he's just like, oh, there's Jack Nicholson and blah, blah, blah. Or maybe they'll see him as the kind of crazy kooky dude from Anger Management. But for like a lot of people, he was the devil. He was the dude from The Shining. He was the fucking Joker.
Right.
Like, and I think he kind of lost his troublemaker bad guy roots late 90s, early 2000s. And then Departed was just like, this is, well, here we all can be evil again. Like, that's what I want.
Except that he did another one of those comedies after the fact.
Well, because I think he put all his evil into one role. He hasn't been evil since.
No, well, he only did one real movie after that, and then he's basically done. Yeah.
Which, to be fair, that's a good fucking more or less ending. Like, if he just ended on The Departed and be like, that's it, all I gotta do is that movie, like, fine.
Well,
because
and that
he is as insane as what I would imagine Whitey Bulger being.
Well, yeah, and that goes back to the comparison I was going to make anyway, because, like, see, I can't say their entire careers, but the ending of their careers, I think, his and Sean Connery's are very similar in the way their careers ended. Maybe not all of their careers, but the way the careers ended. And my point that I was going to bring up a minute ago was, like, like Sean Connery, he didn't. I don't feel like he did a great job of putting on a Boston Affleck. You know what I mean? Like that, the voice. Like I didn't feel like he hit the accent very well.
There's parts of Nicholson's performance that I fucking am mesmerized by.
Sure.
And there's parts of it that drive me fucking up the wall. Like his refusal to wear a Boston Red Sox hat and instead wearing a Yankees hat, which I'm not even a fucking huge Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
I support them, but even like, come on, dude.
I don't even remember that. I'd have to go back to see that part. I don't remember that part.
He refused to wear a Red Sox hat.
Oh, I don't doubt it, but I'm saying I don't even remember him wearing the Yankees hat. I'm not saying he didn't. I just don't remember it.
But he's from Jersey, so he's from like Neptune, I think.
I'd have to look, but yeah, probably.
There are parts of it which I love, especially since I know that Scorsese just said, let Jack be Jack, and just rolled camera.
Well,
and
at that
went
point,
off.
yeah, at that point, you have to let Jack be Jack. Like, I mean, it's not, he's earned enough pedigree at that point that you can't really,
But it gives some of the greatest fucking what the fuck scenes where even you could see Matt Damon and DiCaprio are just looking at him with like uncertainty. Like, I've read the script of The Departed. Like, I was way back when the movie came out, I was so into it. I found the script online and read it and watched the movie. And I'm like, wow, there are lots of like Nicholson parts that are not in this. Like the part where Nicholson is throwing cocaine on like hookers.
Yeah.
That was all him. He went to Scorsese and said, I want 2 hookers and I want a bunch of cocaine. Like, well, we can give you fake cocaine. He's like, whatever, either one. Like, just give me cocaine. Like, he probably had cocaine in his back where he's like, here, snort this till you're numb. Like, and the part with the dildo, like the strap-on dildo.
Yeah.
Michael and I saw that on DVD. We never seen it, so we're watching it. We're like, holy shit, because it was so fucking funny. Just like this bumbling fucking homeless guy just going, be dirty. And then, just turning, and then like Matt Damon almost shoots him.
Yeah.
And just this fucking big giant black cock and then Nicholson's got this crazy like, You
were right, by the way. Neptune City, New Jersey. So
look at me knowing shit.
Look at you.
But I also, there are parts where I'm like, fuck, Jack, just the accent. He sounds like he's from New York more than he sounds like he's from Boston.
That's kind of my point. Yeah.
Especially compared to every other person in that movie just shoving the Boston accent in your face.
Including Alec Baldwin, who's a New Yorker, if I'm correct.
His is more subtle. He doesn't...
Right.
He's not doing a Damon. He's not doing a Mark Wahlberg.
Right, but they're from Boston, or at least Massachusetts. So, I mean, like, that at least...
DiCaprio's not.
No, I'm telling you, but you said, you didn't say him, you said Wahlberg, and you know what I mean? And so I would even argue that, like, they weren't even putting it on as much as taking off the accent that they hide. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they might have just been more themselves than anything. Especially Wahlberg.
Well,
Wahlberg, when you let him talk and just go, he's got that Boston comes out, man.
But his is very quiet. He has a very he's not loud and aggressive, fucking Boston accent. It's very like, hi, how are you? What are you gonna do? You happy?
No, because there's another movie. What I think it's maybe he's putting it on, but I think when I've seen him in a couple of movies where he gets angry and that Boston comes out, man. Like,
well, he embellishes it in like the movie Ted.
Okay.
Because in Ted, it's set in Rhode Island or it's.
I think it's Boston. I mean, I'll check, but I think it's Boston.
It's probably Boston, but I know McFarlane is from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Or no, he's from Connecticut, but he went to school at RISD, the Rhode Island Institute of Design, or whatever the fuck.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, but there are those guys. Like, a great example Did you ever see? Son of a bitch!
It's a suburb of Boston, and Ted. It's not Boston proper, but it's
okay.
It's a
it makes sense. What's that fucking that Boston Catholic newspaper movie that came out? Shoplight.
I don't know.
Mark Ruffalo and Michael Keaton.
I'll look.
They're a newspaper thing in like the Boston Globe or something, and they crack the Boston Catholic.
Oh, yeah, I know I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're. I'm looking it up, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So that's a true story.
Yeah.
And Michael Keaton is playing a real life guy. And when he met the guy that he's playing to understand his role, the first thing he realized is like, oh my God, you don't have a Boston accent. The guy's born and raised in Boston, doesn't have a Boston accent. And the reason why is because he dropped his accent because my understanding is that the accent kind of comes off a little uneducated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you kind of sound like you're still in the middle of fucking your education because you're not using your fucking
Spotlight.
R's. What?
Spotlight.
I thought that's what it was, something like that. It was like Greenliners.
Not to stop things real quick, but did you know, at least according to IMDb, Endgame is actually considered still in post-production?
Yeah.
Well, I just think that's interesting, being that we're a month and a week away. So.
Well, I mean, I think as long as it's not pre-production, that's all I care about.
Yeah, true. Anyway, go back to your point, your story. But
so Michael Keaton's character doesn't have an accent. So throughout the whole film, he comes off like he's the only one who's like miscast. And I remember people saying, you know, for a Boston movie, he has no accent. It's like, well, he doesn't.
But it's accurate to the person.
Yeah. And to go with that, my dad, when he's a little drunk, he drops his R's a little bit, but it's not thick. I have a slight accent just from being raised by the guy.
Sure.
But you know, I'll occasionally drop my R's and
well, I mean, to be fair, how long has he been out of the area though? Like
well, he left when he was 10 or 10 or 11.
There you go. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to your father, but I'm saying, like, when you've been away from the area that long, you'll tend to, you know, and at that age even, you'll start to modify.
True. But it's still there. That is always ingrained there. I mean, my dad has a friend who's from Rhode Island, one of his oldest friends, and once his friend and he are talking about the Red Sox or whatever the fuck, my dad's accent comes out a little bit. I mean, no bullshit. I thought fucking car keys was khakis.
You've told us that before, I remember, yeah.
I mean, that's a true thing. And it was always start the machine, not start the fucking car. It was always get the khakis and go start the machine.
Interesting. I've never heard that before.
Yeah. It's always
you hear the stereotypical park the car, but I've never heard start the machine before.
It may be an older generation thing, but like it was always Rico, warm up he would say, warm up the machine, take the khakis, and start the machine.
And of course, you were like 6, right? So
like 8 years older. So he'd be driving me to school, so I'd be like, and I'm looking at him like, do I have to translate this shit? What the fuck did you say?
Either way, you shouldn't be starting the car. Is my point. But
he would. I was driving at like 8 or 9 years old. Okay.
So anyway, that said, you actually have some stories from your father. I know you want to share with us. So.
Yeah. A little backstory. We tried to get my father on last night, and CJ was a complete fucking trooper and was up late. And we have some footage and some audio. Not sure if and when we'll ever release it, but unfortunately, my dad was not uncomfortable. He just wasn't prepared, and he wanted to cook, and there was someone over that he was like, you know, he wanted to be a very personal thing, just sit down and talk. And he also hadn't eaten, and he was cooking pasta, and so blah blah blah. So we didn't get the recording. So there is a story that we are going to save because it's a very good story, but I will share other fucking stories. Now, right. I've disclosed this before. My dad's old. He's 80 years old. He actually will be 81 this month. So happy birthday, Ron DiGiorgio. And my dad was raised in Newton, Upper Falls. So even right there, just it kind of comes out.
I got it.
Just Newton Upper Falls, Massachusetts, which is really kind of, if I were to describe it to you, even though you've never been to this place, it's like the Piedmont of Oakland. It's like the Piedmont of Massachusetts. Okay. Upper class, suburban, kind of, I mean, my dad's family were working people, but I think my dad lived comfortably. So there's a couple stories. I want to figure out the order of it because there's all right, I'll tell this one. My dad has told me all these stories when I was a little kid, and they all sort of have titles, and one of them is called the Raft. So the Raft is my dad. If they had it, doctors would have prescribed him Ritalin when he was a kid. Just hyper fucking energy, always moving. And he always described himself as like a Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn type of kid, just always out. My dad was also a troublemaker. My dad played with gunpowder and dynamite, like made his own dynamite. Like he took like the coin carriers of those the sleeves that you hold, the roll of quarters. So he'd dump all the coins out and like jam pack it with gunpowder and shit and fucking make sticks of dynamite and blow it up inside the fucking restaurant.
As you do,
As you do. 1948, you're fucking bored. You just make dynamite. I definitely think that's why he's lost of hearing. My dad's always been like, "What? What do you say? What?" And I'm like, "Dad, stop blowing up shit."
I gotta tell you, I, for lack of a better phrase, met your dad last night. And, yeah. I mean, you deal with him on a more regular basis, so I'm not going to sit here and, call you a liar, but he's seemed pretty pleasant to me compared to the stories you share.
But you also probably heard him in the background yelling at Dave.
But it still wasn't, I don't know. And we didn't get into Dave and who Dave is, but I guess in comparison, it made it rather entertaining. So.
Right. So, but Dad was, Dad can be quiet, but Dad can also be fucking aggressive as shit. What? Oh. What did you say? Like, he's always, and that's the thing, he's always impatient. Doesn't matter if it's him being slow or you being slow, he's always impatient. Like, come on, let's go, hurry up. Get up, you goddamn lazy barbarian. Go to bed. Rico, eat. Shut up and eat. Rico, stop talking. Get up. All right, go stop eating. You're too fat. Go to bed. Like,
and that was all in the first 10 minutes of the day. So
yeah, my dad stopped like wake. You know how there's different ways of waking someone up, especially a kid.
Sure.
You come and say, "Rico, wake up." No response. "Rico, wake up." No response. Shake, shake, shake. "Rico, get up." No response. I was just a hardcore deep sleeper. And then my dad would just come in, take a glass of water, dip his fingers in, and sprinkle it like in my face. I kind of wake up bleary-eyed and kind of like, "Don't you fucking dare." And he just look at me and say, "Are you going to get up?" And I said, "No." And they just dump it on me.
Oh, that's partially your fault, though, if you want to be honest about it. I mean, like...
I'm half asleep, man. What the fuck? And then he's just like, "All right, you don't need to take a shower. Let's go."
Yeah.
But my dad was a troublemaker in his own way. He would go to the clock tower, which had a bell. One of those old-fashioned clock towers with a dong, dong. And my dad ran up.
Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad ran up one and would just bang on it at like 2 o'clock. You'd bang it at like 3 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And all the fucking people are looking at their watch like, is it time to go home? What the fuck is this?
See, okay. Seems like your dad and I are very similar in that I would have done that at like 2:15. Or 2:27 or some weird.
Right, just a real fuck with it, yeah.
Yeah.
He used to take balloons and drop behind the town drunk. Like the town drunk would be sort of walking by. You just drop a water balloon or a cup of water or something. And the guy would just be like, "What the fuck with that?"
Well, was he in a porno movie, though? Or no? The town drunk, not your dad.
I gotcha.
Yeah. All right.
Goddamn drunk drivers. So, the Raft. My dad and his friend, and I think I could share his friend's name. His name was Johnny Oxtolis, and he was Lithuanian. And I think I can say it because I think he's dead.
Okay.
And
well,
Johnny
to be fair, with your dad's age, that's more likely than not.
Yeah, it's likely he's passed away. And I asked my dad, I'm like, what was Johnny Arcstolas like? Because me and Johnny Arcstolas was always the beginning of the story.
Sure.
And I said, what was Johnny Arcstolas like? He's like, don't ever call him a Polak. I'm like, well, why would you? He's like, that's what we did. We just fucking, it's like you were either Irish, German, or Italian, or everything else was Polak.
Okay.
I was like, so it's sort of just this cavalier racism? He's like, yeah, kind of. It was,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we were kind of aware of it, but we never. He's like, there weren't that many black people or Hispanics. There's a girl named Rosita Gomez. Oh God, Rosita Gomez. I'm like, all right, Dad, bring it back. So, so the raft is Dad and Johnny Arcstolas, and for the sake of argument, I'll just call him Ronnie because I'm tired of just calling him Dad. So Ronnie and Johnny.
Yeah, because Dad's such a hard word to use.
No, I think it gets tiring and boring. I'll call him Ronald. I'll call him Ron. I'll call him Ronnie. I'll call him Dad.
Whatever. All right.
So fucking the old Guinea, and the young Polak. They find a couple of.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night. That's the end of that was the last episode of PodAskew. No, they find a couple pallets, wooden pallets, just at a junkyard because that's whatever, and that was their playground, I guess. And they take these pallets and lasso them together with fucking rope that they found or had, and then they shoved in between twigs and leaves and branches and shit, and intertwined it so it was just together. It was just this giant fucking hodgepodge mess of a raft. And they fucking drag it over the Charles River. I think Massachusetts is just a place that everyone speaks incorrectly. I don't think it's an accent.
Okay.
Because they'll drop their fucking R's, and then they'll add an R at the end of words that don't have an R.
Sure.
I don't even fucking condone Louis C.K. anymore, but he was from the same part of Massachusetts my dad was. He was from Newton.
Okay.
And he has this great joke where he talks about the Boston accent. He's like, I had a teacher who was teaching us sex ed, and he said, so the man takes his penis and sticks it in the woman's vagina.
Oh, I've heard, yeah. A lot of people, if there's, I don't know if it's specifically a Boston or a Massachusetts thing, but if you have an A at the end of a word, it tends to turn into a sound.
Yeah, it's almost Cockney English in a weird fucked up. It's like Cockney English where they just fuck with it, and that's what I'm saying is it's not an accent; it's an improper way of speaking.
The most common version I've heard of it, honestly, is idea. I've got a good idea.
Yeah, that's my dad says that. I got a good idea, because idea just sounds fucking weird to them.
Right.
Yeah. So Ronnie had a fucking idea, and they fucking took this goddamn raft, and they bring it out to the Charles fucking River, and my dad said he felt the current immediately start tugging on the raft.
Sure.
And he's got it in the water, and he's checking its floats, and he's about to jump on. The fucking current takes his raft and just fucking blasts away. So Dad kind of trudges back to the shore, and they just start chasing after this fucking thing along the bank, and they're just trying to keep up with this fucking raft. And then finally, after 3 minutes, the fucking thing just goes over a waterfall and just smashes the smithereens.
Wow.
So fucking destroyed that Ronnie looks at Johnny and just says, Johnny, let's go home. There's nothing else we could do here. Let's go home.
Yeah.
And my dad told me, I'm like, you realize that you would have fucking died and that would have prevented me from being born, right? He said, yeah, it would have been the best mistake I've ever made. So
can I just say, after stories you've told me, and then the 2 hours we spent last night, You guys have the oddest fucking relationship I've ever seen.
It's a lot of hate with love. It's a lot of ribbing.
Yeah, there's definitely love. You can see it, you can sense it, but there's definitely a lot of contentiousness as well.
I think his logic is, if you're gonna be a dick and if you're gonna be honest, you might as well be funny.
I loved it. I loved it when you told him the joke you've said about how you were his midlife crisis, and he was like, "Nah."
Yeah. You didn't see his reaction, but he kind of grinned and nodded.
Yeah.
But the joke was, when I was born, my dad was 53, and I said I was my dad's midlife crisis. Some people get a fucking car. My dad had a final kid.
Yeah.
And I said that my dad just kind of looked at me and like,
yeah,
that sounds about right.
But wasn't there a story about some kind of sandwich or something?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to hear this one.
Okay, so bear in mind the other character in the peanut butter and jelly sandwich story is my Uncle Eddie, and my Uncle Eddie passed away when I think I was 8, and so he died fairly young. He was 64.
Oof, that's rough.
And I didn't know him very well. All I knew was just stories that my father told me.
And that's a older or younger brother than your dad?
Older brother.
Okay.
And the junior. Like, my grandfather's name was Eduardo. This was Eddie.
Okay.
It was Eddie and Ronnie. And I asked my dad, like, where the fuck did the name Ronnie come from? I was like, I don't know. I have no idea where the fuck they came up with that name.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not... names aren't always tied to the family in some way. They're just sometimes...
But it was sort of weird because Ron is a Germanic name. It's just sort of weird, like they wouldn't go full on Italian, especially from an immigrant point of view.
Tony or Anthony or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, I think my dad was almost named Leonardo, but then they settled on having it be his middle name.
All right. So
yeah,
I want to hear about the sandwich.
So my dad and a group of kids, including my Uncle Eddie, were at this neighborhood asshole's house. And for the first time, I finally knew what this fucking asshole's name was.
Okay.
His name was Ted Williams.
Not the Ted Williams.
Not the Ted Williams, which is ironic because the actual baseball player Ted Williams lived in Newton. So
there's two Ted Williams in the same town.
Two Ted Williams in the same fucking town.
One of them being, like, at the time, like, star of the world baseball player. Right.
Yeah, the Boston God, essentially.
I want to know what it was like if the mailman fucked up the mail. Like,
yeah, can you imagine, like, there may be autographs of balls and shit that are from the wrong Ted Williams?
Right? I mean, like...
He just said, fuck these kids. And he just wrote fuck you to them, and, like... He's like, eat shit, go Yankees. Like, really just to fuck with the kids.
Right?
Don't be a fan of mine. I fucking hate you. Sincerely love Ted Williams. And, like, just broke kids' fucking hearts. Look, I don't know if he did that. It's just funny to imagine. No, we don't,
but it's funny to joke about, yeah.
But this guy, this Ted Williams definitely fucking hated my dad. Because my dad was that town, like, Bart Simpson, essentially. He was the Dennis the Menace, Bart Simpson, troublemaking little fuck. And they were all at this fucking dude's house, which was sort of on a hill with grass, which I don't know Boston, I don't know Massachusetts. I imagine there's an affluent of those. And this guy had a new screen door. And all his kids egged my dad to kick this fucking screen door. Say, hey, kick it, Ronnie, kick it. And I don't want to kick it. Kick it, Ronnie, kick it. Fuck you. I don't want to kick it. Kick it, Ronnie, kick it. He finally said, fuck. And then just kicked this fucking screen door and
did he kick through the screen or just kick to make noise?
No, he kicked through the fucking screen. His foot is caught inside of it.
Oh, Jesus.
And then they hear, what the fuck was that? And then all the fucking kids just run and scatter and hide in the tall grass. And Dad's just standing there with his fucking foot caught in the thing. And he just fucking rips it out. The screen door just disintegrates. And all the kids are hiding in the tall grass. What?
If it disintegrates, it's a pretty shitty screen door, but that's not.
Well, this is 1948. I don't know how amazing screen doors were.
That's true. Okay.
Have they improved in 70 fucking years?
No, but they stopped putting them on submarines.
So, my dad, once he fucking, brings his fucking foot back into the free world, he hides behind, sort of hid where everyone else was not hiding. He went sort of down the hill and like away from everybody. And then he looks up and he sees a bunch of fucking woo coming towards him. On all these kids.
Yeah.
Like at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 just squad cars. And they just start rounding up all these fucking kids, including my Uncle Eddie, into these fucking squad cars and just loading up cattle. And they just start driving away. And my dad is the only one who's not grabbed. And he just waits until they're all gone. And then he just bolts and runs back to his apartment complex. And I love, no matter how many times my dad has told this story, the story has never changed, with like exceptions of him adding a detail when I'm old enough to ask, like, who's this cocksucker's name?
Right.
Ted Williams. What? Ted Williams?
Yeah.
No, not that Ted Williams. Like last night. Look, it took me 27 years to know what this fucking guy's name was. And a little side note, I think he didn't like my dad because dad had the hots for his daughter.
Oh, okay.
So he's just like, there's that DeGeorgia kid. I stay away from my daughter.
Right, but your dad was, if you told the story, and I'm not saying you're lying, but your dad was 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
That didn't stop him.
Fair enough. He's Italian.
No. No, dude. My dad would not give a I think my dad, I think he lost his virginity pretty early.
Okay, well, that's not a story we're going to get into
No,
today.
I know the story. I'm not going to tell the fucking story, but I know the story.
All right, well, get back to the screen door and the sandwich, because I still don't know how a sandwich and the screen door tie together. I'm still want to hear this.
I mean, I'm saying, dude, he penetrated the screen door. It didn't. Nothing held it back.
What's that got to do with a sandwich? That's what the point I'm trying to make.
I'll get you the fucking sandwich. I'm about to eat a piece of chocolate. Calm the fuck down. So, when he told me the story, he told it how he would run up to the apartment building, and his mother, my grandmother, Mary, was getting off the bus at the bus stop, which was right in front of their house at the same time.
Okay.
So they met almost like a scene from a movie, just him sprinting, her getting off the bus, and boom, there they are. And this is one of my favorite parts of the whole fucking story is he said to her, "Ma, the cops got Eddie." Which is such a weird fucking like cavalier, like, "Hey, Ma, the cops got Eddie. It's Thursday."
Right.
And she just said, "What?
It probably
the cops
was
got
Thursday.
Eddie?" Guys, she's like, "You get inside. I'll take care of this." So dad goes up to the third floor, and makes himself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And that's the end. No, I'm fucking lying.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, that's a shitty ending.
Yeah, that's an awful ending. And so he looks outside. He's munching on his sandwich. He looks out the window, and he sees a squad car pull up to the street, and Mary just run over, yank open the fucking door and say, "Eddie, get the hell out of that squad car!" Eddie gets out of the fucking squad car because you're not going to argue with an Italian Boston lady, are you?
Nope.
No. So he's standing off to the side. The cop, more side note, wanted to bang my grandmother, apparently. Like, wanted her badly.
Okay.
Irish cop. My dad told me his name last night, but it was some Mick O fucking Fitz something.
The views of Rico and his father do not reflect the views of PodAskew and its associates. Thank you so much. Okay.
So, that was good, CJ.
Thank you. I like getting you from time to time. I don't get it very often. So
you do occasionally throw me off, and it does make it a little bit sweeter for you. Steph does the same thing. When Steph makes me laugh, it's a personal triumph for her.
Totally. Yeah.
To be fair, both of you are funny, and I do like to laugh. I just laugh a lot on the inside, but when you really make me laugh, it's really a big deal.
What do you think I do half the stupid openings that I do?
Yeah, that's the secret, is you got to catch me off guard.
Yeah.
That's really, because I'm always thinking of the next 5 jokes. When you guys throw me a curveball, I'm like, oh, shit, that was funny. Yeah. Didn't expect that.
So anyway, cop wants to bang your grandmother.
Yeah, that's a... Thank you. Officer Omick comes over and fucking starts yelling at Mary and saying, you need to take better control of your fucking kids. And she's yelling right back, fuck you, my kids are fine, my kids are fine. And my dad's upstairs just looking at this fucking cop just shake his finger in his mother's face and scream at her and talking shit about himself, basically. So he just takes a sandwich, reaches out holding it, and drops the fucking thing.
Right. He drops a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on the cop.
On the cop's head.
Okay, because that's not assault of a police officer in any way.
What are they going to do, arrest a fucking minor?
They already were trying to for the screen door.
No, they arrested. They took him home basically and yelled at the parents. This was more of like, your kid's a fucking asshole. Take care of your kids.
Right.
It wasn't let's shoot them and then charge them. So on the fucking cop, sandwich lands on the fucking ground. The cop looks up at my dad, realizes what the fuck just happened, yells at Mary and says, "See, your fucking kids are out of control." And here's the punchline. Mary yells up at Ronnie and says, "Ronnie, did you throw that peanut butter and jelly sandwich down here?" And Ron says, "No, Ma, it slipped." And she turns to the cop and says, "There, you see? It fucking slipped."
Nice.
Yeah.
Mom always protecting their cubs.
Yeah, she was a weird one, man. Like, a lot of the stories that I know of her are not happy PC fucking stories. Like,
well, look, it's Irish Boston, it's Italian Irish Boston in the 40s. It's not going to be very PC. Let's be real about it.
It's not going to be PC, and I actually will share one story. There's one that I will not share unless
because I have a funny food story. It's not Irish or St. Patrick's Day related, but it involves me being embarrassed as shit, and it's food related. So
go ahead, you tell that story because mine is all about racism. So go ahead.
Yeah, let's not do that today. Save that one for the round table. How's that? There you go. No. Okay.
No.
Well, I don't know the story. I was trying to make it fit. I don't know. Anyway,
it ain't gonna fit.
So that's what she said.
All right, let me hear your fucking food story.
Did I ever tell you about the campground we used to go to? Did I ever bring that up? Okay, so we used to go to. I
don't think so.
We used to go to this campground every summer. We had a site and it's, when I say campground, it's not like roughing it camping.
Is this where you had like a cornfield or something? There was like a dude dressed up as Michael Myers and scared the shit out of someone?
Same campsite.
I do know this, yeah.
Okay. That's not related to the story in any way except that it took place at the campsite, but outside of it, yeah. So we're down there and it's...
Do I get credit for remembering that, by the way?
Totally. Props to you. Because half the time I don't think you pay attention to what I say. So...
What?
Exactly. So, in the campground, it's like a Tuesday in the summer. So there was a bunch of us. We all had trailers in like this like courtyard-ish, but not a full courtyard because there was ways out, but it was still shaped that way, if you know what I mean. So we knew everyone, and so breakfast would generally be a rotational thing. And what I mean by that is you would start at one person's trailer and rotate from trailer to trailer, and by the time you were done, you had a full breakfast, right?
Okay.
So, and it generally would, and it would also start and end at the same place. Do you know what I mean? So you would start at one place, kind of circle around, and end at the same place, right?
Makes sense.
Our trailer was usually the start end point for breakfast.
Okay. The beginning and the end.
But yeah, exactly. It would circle all the way around and kind of double back to our place. So,
what would you serve?
Oh, it's typical breakfast stuff: bacon, eggs, sausage, muffins, toast, that kind of thing. And we were sitting there, and there was this girl I had a thing for forever. That was part of this circle that would, make the rounds and whatever. But she did not view me the same way I viewed her. It just...
How old were you in this?
14.
Okay, you're right in the middle of fucking puberty, so you're just like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Your eyes are just bleaking cum. I get it.
And kind of to your dad's thing, you were saying about how young he was. I wasn't that young, but I also never went through that girls are icky thing.
Right.
Like, I've never...
I wanted cooties, too. I was like, give me the cooties.
Bring it on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, in any event, I guess that's the Italian in us. It has to be, right? Like, that's...
it's got to be some fucking... Italian's just like, I'll fucking get an STD at 7. I don't give a fuck.
Right. But at one point, her cousin started coming to the place, to the campsite.
Oh, I like that PS, coming to the place.
No, I didn't mean to pause like that. But she started coming down, and she was attractive too. And so one day we're sitting there, and it's me. It started off with me and my buddy, and the girl I like's older sister. Just the three of us hanging out.
Wait, there was a cousin. So there's also an older sister.
Correct.
Nice. So the girl you like, her older sister, and the cousin, and then your friend and you.
Right. But it started with just me, my friend, and the older sister. Because like I said, people would rotate. The only people who didn't rotate the breakfast shift basically was always me, because my mom was kind of like the start and end point, so there was no point in me rotating. But a lot of other people did.
I gotta tell you, man, this is the weirdest orgy story I've heard so far.
It's not. Stop it. You're gonna like how this ends. You are gonna like how this ends. I don't like how it ends, but you're gonna fucking love it. So, Mom's gotten done making all the food and whatever, so she's inside the trailer, and we're all just kind of hanging out. And I can tell you that it's Halloween weekend, right?
So this is the Michael Myers one.
Well, it's the same time of year, but I don't know if it's the same weekend as the Michael Myers.
Okay.
It's that same time of year, but I went to this place for a number of years, so I don't remember if it's the same year. But the point is, we're all hanging out, and we're sitting there and having breakfast and whatever. And the older sister, who I am friends with, and I'm not going to use her name, and she would hate that I'm saying this, but she was going through that time of the month, if you will.
Shark Week?
Yes, Shark Week. And her shark
For the record, I didn't come up with that. I've had many girlfriends come up with that. They volunteered that. That's not a sexist thing. That's a woman statement right there.
I like it, though. And so to stick with the parlance, her shark was rather fierce. We'll put it that way.
It was great and white.
Yeah, it was the Jaws of this time.
She called it Bruce?
Yeah. Anyway. So
it ate Robert Shaw.
Oh God! But my friend, you made yourself laugh on that one.
I made myself laugh. Oh fuck, that was funny. Go ahead. All right, your friend is going through an uncomfortable time. Go ahead.
No, my friend is dating her. Right? They're dating because he's a year older than me, so they're about 15 at this point. I'd say 15, 16.
And she was in no way going to go out with a 14-year-old. I get it.
Right. And he had brought down a 5-pound bag of mixed candy because it's Halloween. Like he brought it.
Okay.
And so, because they also do trick or treating at this place, like the younger kids would go around to the different campsites and trick or treat. Like that was a thing. So he brought that down to help contribute to that part of the weekend's festivities. And my friend, the older girl, is sitting on his lap and picking out all the mini Tootsie Rolls that are in this bag. Okay. I'll just use her name because she's never going to listen to it. So her name's Christy. It's Christy, and then my friend is Steve. And then...
Christy and a what?
Steve. Steve is the guy.
Steve. I heard a Steep.
No, Steve. So Christy's sitting on Steve's lap, and we're all sitting around shooting the shit, and she's picking out the Tootsie Rolls out of this 5-pound bag of candy, big-ass bag of candy. And putting them in a pile, and then anything else, but she's not like looking for them. She's literally randomly reaching in, pulling out a piece of candy, and if it's not a Tootsie Roll, she's throwing it at my head.
What the fuck?
Just because. I mean, we're all super close. Like, this is not like I just know her because they're dating. Like, I'm super close with this person. So.
Do you still know her?
Yeah, but it's gotten ugly, and it's not worth getting into right now. But yes. And so she's throwing all this and after like I want to say an hour of this, like I put up with it for a while. I kind of got frustrated with it, and I picked up an English muffin and I winged it at her. Right?
Yeah.
Now there's a tub of Country Crock butter. Are you familiar with Country Crock butter?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if it's a thing. So anyway,
the other, I can't believe it's not butter. It's more
basically it's
real
margarine.
Butter, but yeah,
it's a big thing of margarine. Is sitting
the big gray container, right?
Brownish gray, whatever. I'm not going to argue over the color, but yeah. And while this is happening, her sister, who I liked, the younger sister, and the cousin, who I also liked, have now come and sat down and hung out with us. This before I threw the English muffin. She stands up, rips the lid off the tub of the Country Crock, because there's a big-ass tub of it sitting on the table, puts her hand in it, pulls out a softball size of thing of butter, and smears it down the side of my face.
Oh, my God.
Now, that's not the punchline, much like your peanut butter jelly story, right? So I freak the fuck out. Everyone's laughing their balls off for those who have them, and just laughing like crazy. My mom comes out of the trailer, assesses the situation, turns to Christy, and yells at her, not for smearing butter on my face, but says to her, next time you're going to do that, use a spoon first.
Oh, God. Yeah, that sounds like your mom and my dad would have got along.
I don't know, but quick caveat to that. So that happened in October. My mom's birthday is in June. She's right around your birthday, right?
Right.
So for my mom's birthday the following year, Christy got her a tub of Country Crock as a present, like a...
Country Cock?
Country Crock, I said.
Butter. You said Country Cock.
No, I did not. You heard.
Yes, you... You're going to hear... You said it once before when you said it quickly, but you said Country Cock. You definitely said Country Cock just now.
No, I did not. But anyway.
You were going to listen to all the recording. You're going to be like, motherfucker.
Well, anyway.
So someone smeared Country Cock in your face.
Fuck you.
Go ahead.
Have another beer, lush. Anyway, she, now we're really getting Irish, right? So.
Oh, fucking lighty. Oh my God, I'm crying.
The caveat is she gave her a tub of butter for her birthday next year to replace.
That's good, man. You're a giant tub of Country Cock to smear on your face. I love it.
So, all right. I think
that's never going away, by the way. That's forever. Fuck me sending you coffee. I'm sending you a giant fucking dildo with like
butter
country written on it, butter, and like just the word country on it.
Yeah, don't do that.
I mean, if you really are that sensitive, I won't do it.
You really want to send a cock to another man?
Are you going to use it?
No!
Then what's the problem?
Good night, everybody! CJ here with a few thank yous and to let you know how you can get in touch with and follow the show and us. For PodAskew, go to iTunes, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts on your iPhone, and Google Play Music on your Android phone to listen to, subscribe, rate, and comment on the show, or the Listen Notes podcast search engine at www.listennotes.com. Go there, type in PodAskew, all one word, and you can stream us right there. If you want to agree with or yell at us directly, follow Rico, me, and the show on Twitter. The show is at PodAskew, Rico is at RantsRico, and I'm at M_Blade. If you need to contact the show for promotional reasons, tweet Stephanie at PodAskewPR. Check out Rico's YouTube channel, Rico's Rants, on YouTube at www.youtube.com/Rico's Rants. Thank you to Dubbed in English for our opening theme music, 96 Reasons. They're no longer online, but you can contact me for a copy of the full song or the whole Plan 9 EP. Thank you to Samuel Lemons for our closing music, Theme Askew. You can find his music on SoundCloud at www.soundcloud.com/Samuel-Lemons. Finally, our biggest thank you is to you, everyone, for listening. Rico and I really appreciate your time and look forward to bringing you another episode soon.
Do you like apples?
Yeah.
Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples?
Damn it!
PodAskew. PodAskew.